To say that the crisis is blowing out of hand is an understatement. It's an embarrassment, actually, not only to us lawyers. It's an embarrassment to all parties concerned, the NJC and the governor and the government of Rivers State. But you see, the point is, we have to go back to the basics, and that is, we have to address the issue of true independence of the judiciary. If the Constitution has not been conditioned to the fact that the governor has to assent, if it's left to the judiciary alone, there wouldn't have been any problem. I think the problem is an issue of somebody says, this is the person I want, yes, and the NJC, that's the National Judicial Council, that controls and has the final say in the appointment of judges, says something else. That is where the problem is. So if this simple, very simple, but for this purpose is becoming an embarrassment, is removed, then we won't have any problem at all. And I think the most important thing is for us to go back to the drawing board and see how this type of thing will not occur in the future. But let me say this will not be the first time somebody is bypassed for another. Okay. In their, yes, a scenario like that has happened in Lagos State before. Okay. It has happened before. During the time of, there was a time a chief judge, Justice Shotuminu, was bypassed and appointed CJ over the most senior judge at that time, Honorable Justice Lunge, retired. The heavens did not fall. I don't know why the crisis is being blown out of proportion.
Okay, let's leave the issue of Rivers State CJ. Do you share the view held by some people in some quarters that the NJC is becoming dictatorial and is in need of some reforms?
There's a need to reform the NJC. And the NBA came out with a proposal, especially during the Issa Salami saga, that the membership and the way members are appointed should be reviewed. Okay. As to the issue of being dictatorial, I won't say that, because you can't say that of the men and women of integrity on that body. So I believe sincerely that whatever decision they have taken so far may have been born out of serious deliberation and discussion, especially when it has to do with the removal or suspension of judges. So I want to believe that they are not.
But talking about reform of the NJC, especially in the appointment of judges, this argument by some people that it's better for the State Judicial Council to appoint judges for the state. They know better the caliber of judges in that state. Yes. Do you think that there's a need for reform in that area?
That is why I said from the onset that it's a constitutional issue. And that if the judiciary is left alone, insulated from politics, it is better for it. Because I believe that the state judicial councils can take care of the appointment of judges in the states, while the NJC takes care of that has to do with the federal. Ditto to the control of the purse of the judiciary. It should not be left to the executive. We are saying the executive should be independent of the legislature, vice versa. The legislature and the executive should be independent of the judiciary, vice versa. until that is achieved, we'll still be having problems.
It's interesting that you've talked about judicial autonomy. So I want to also talk about this recent judgment of a federal high court granting financial autonomy to the judiciary. A lot of us think that it's a positive development, but what I want to know is, what are the implications of that judgment?
Well, it is a positive development because the implication is that the judiciary, as we are seeing in Rivers State, will be insulated from politicians. The judiciary will stand on its own. The judges will be able to do their work without any fear or favor. They won't be going cap in hand to the governor at any time they need the money. So I believe that if we really want a true democracy, then every arm of government should be independent of each other. And that will guide against one being controlled by the other. So I believe that it's a very welcome development for that judgment, for the fact that judiciary should have fiscal autonomy. This was canvassed before in Lagos. And I want to say that outside Lagos and Kwara State, at a time, the NBA recognized that these two states actually gave the judiciary some sort of independence in the way it runs its affairs.
So it's just limited to those two states?
Well, it's limited to those two states that I know. With the judgment now, I believe that all the state governments should just throw in the towel and, if they want to say that true Democrats, real politicians, they should leave the judiciary out of whatever they do.
Some people want to know, how would that money be properly managed? Who checks, the judiciary? Is this something that the National Assembly can still do? Do they still have that oversight function, especially when we talk about separation of powers, insulating one organ of government from the other?
You see, the point is that just like the government, you have a budget. You take it to the National Assembly, they pass it, and then you implement it. And don't forget, the chief financial officer of the judiciary is the chief registrar, not even the chief judge of the state. So the chief financial officer, who is the chief registrar, is answerable to the National Assembly or to the state's House of Assembly if there's any questions to be asked. So either way, the chief judge is insulated. And I believe that if this thing is firmly entrenched, the chief judge of a state or any state whatsoever will know that, I won't want to be caught in the web of financial impropriety. So the best is to leave everything to the chief registrar, who will be held accountable, and not the judge for any wrongdoing or for any questions to be asked pertaining to the running of the funds of the judiciary.
Let's round off with the issue of the Nigerian Bar Association. I know you're one of the leaders of the bar, and there's been so much activity going on, so much talk about the forthcoming elections, which have been slated for the 13th and 14th of July, and 14th and 15th. Yes. And I know that you are running for office.
Yes, I am.
Second vice president?
Because I believe that at this time that's what I want. It's by choice. And after consulting my constituency, after consulting some elders of the bar, I have to just opt for that.
But what are you bringing to the table?
Well, the issue of the second vice president, the first to third vice president, is stated in the constitution of the association. And that has to do with the fact that we are to look after the affairs of certain zones of the association, and then we are in charge of certain bar associations, and of course, the most important is we do whatever the president asks us to do.
So the vice presidents actually have a role to play.
Yes.
Not like deputy governors or
no,
they are spare tires.
No, we are not spare tires. We are not spare tires.
So you maintain
yes,
some of the zones of
exactly.
the
We maintain some of the zones of the association, and it's spelled out in I think it's section 13 constitution of the NBA that was adopted some time ago at the Lagos conference in 2009. So that's we are not just spare tires. We have a role to play, and that is why I want to.
Why should people vote for you?
Well, I'm a change catalyst. Like the theme of my campaign is a catalyst for change, and my antecedent as chairman of NBA Lagos branch speaks for me, and I believe that, like I said, I can have a program that is outside the purview of the president of the association.
Yeah, because you need to work closely.
Yes, and which means I will need to be a very good listener, and of course advise the president where if he's going astray. But I can also bring in ideas, which I believe the president, if he believes in me, will take. And I have the feeling that we have issues in NBA, like the welfare of junior lawyers, like the welfare of our members, especially those that are displaced now because of the Boko Haram insurgency in certain states of the federation, and some other issues too, like the continued legal education and stuff like that. I will have ideas and to offer to the incoming president.
But what do you think of the guidelines for the elections?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think the guideline is good. Okay. Aside the fact that new branches are being allowed to vote, I think there should be a little bit of sanity in the way we run our electioneering campaign in NBA. I personally, speaking for myself,
because you
it's
know
okay.
that the NBA Lagos branch, of which you were former chairman,
yes,
they have issues with the election guidelines.
Exactly. We have issues with the election guideline. We have passed a resolution at the branch level, and unfortunately, the resolution could not be moved at the last NEC meeting in Abuja. But I'm sure that this election committee or future election committees will take into cognizance all the issues raised in the resolution of the Lagos branch of the NBA.
That is our interview segment and the program for today. If you missed any part of it, you can log into our YouTube page to view it. Share any comments or questions you have with me via any of the addresses on the screen. I am Shola Shieli. Thank you for watching.